One of the interesting things about it is you're always told how to drive for mileage, like, you know, easy on the air conditioning, don't have cruise control on, all this other stuff. I found that I really had to kind of rethink the way that I was driving to get the best kind of fuel economy. Because if you just set the cruise at like 65, I think on the trip from Winona down to La Crosse, I went from 35 up to 40 miles per gallon just on that trip. So it's really nice. It's really handy. You can just set the cruise and it automatically does whatever is most economical for fuel. And you never realize how little you use, how there's so many things where you don't really use your engine, like when you're going down a hill or when you're sitting at a stoplight, and not having that on really saves a lot of fuel. I think the entire time that I've had this car, and I've done as much driving around as I possibly could do, I have just barely moved the fuel gauge. It is just one tick off F. But I did find that it was kind of a challenge that I'm driving down the road and thinking like, oh, well, if I let up on the accelerator a little bit, or if I coast, or if I bring the cruise down a little bit, then I would get better fuel economy. It almost became a little bit of a game to see how high I could get the fuel economy. One of the things that I really like about this Kia and the Kias that I've driven is the technology. I'm a big nerd, so I love buttons to push. I love fancy things that do things for you. The Bluetooth connection is fantastic because not only will the UVO system download all your contacts, you can just push a button and say, call whoever. But you can also play audio off your phone. So I'm a big fan of different podcasts and things like that. So I can actually play a podcast off my phone over the system in the car. So it takes the need to have an auxiliary plug that runs from like your phone down to the car, kind of completely obsolete. But if you have like an MP3 player or something, they still have the auxiliary port and a USB port. So it's super nice, along with 2 different charging ports. So basically with redundant controls on the steering wheel, you've got all kinds of different gauges that you can have. Like that's the instant fuel economy. Distance to empty, 447 miles, which is awesome. Average speed, it's got a timer for if you want to time trips. 2 different trip meters, tells you how ridiculously hot it is outside. And then this is really nice, distance to oil change and when you need tire rotation. So you don't really have to have the ugly sticker in the corner or anything like that. I mean, the car's going to tell you when you're going to need it. Especially with the hybrid engine, it's a little bit different than a normal engine because the actual fuel engine does not run as much. Then the energy flow, and I couldn't have it on that because I was getting too distracted watching when the power is coming from the gas motor, or if it was going over to the battery, or if it was going from the battery, or both. I got too distracted. There's eco level. It's a very nice tree. And a total eco score. Right now mine's at 9. I feel like I should get better than 9. But that's something that I would have to try to work on. But that's one of the things, it's almost like a game, because I'm sure that I can get my eco score up. I'm getting competitive with the car. And then that's where I kind of settled on with the instant fuel economy. 38.6 right now. But I know I can get that up. That's going to happen. I really would have loved to drive it more. I was trying to come up with any kind of excuse I could to make a trip. I even offered to go see my girlfriend's parents. But nothing. That didn't work. But it's still great fuel economy, comfortable ride, very good looking. For driving around town, like the stuff that I do, because most of my driving is in Winona proper. I don't go hardly any place. For me, it'd just be perfect because it's not using a lot of fuel. You're running mostly on the battery, and the engine is mostly being used to charge the battery, or you're using both battery and gas engine, so it's not completely on the gas engine. If you want to try a test drive one, the best place to come is to Brenengen Kia here in West Salem, or start online at Brenengen, Brenengen.com.